Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Caden Kubler and welcome to Caden's Corner. We're 2 weeks into the NFL season and there's been some big time surprises. We have the New Orleans Saints putting up 91 points in 2 weeks, but we also have Super Bowl contenders like the Baltimore Ravens and Cincinnati Bengals starting 0-2. Now we know that the Bengals always start slow, but for the Ravens, this was completely unexpected. For the Ravens, a team that was the #1 overall seed in the AFC, a team that had home field advantage throughout the playoffs, a team that hosted a conference championship game and was less than a touchdown away from making the Super Bowl. And we all know the year-to-year strides that Lamar Jackson takes as a player and as a passer. Not only that, the Ravens also added Derrick Henry, one of the most lethal running backs in the entire league. Nobody on the planet expected this team to start 0-2 in this concerning of a fashion. And now I'll just read you through a few stats here for teams that start 0-2. In the past 6 years, only 4 teams that have started 0-2 have made the playoffs. That's a whopping 8%. Now for a little hope for you Ravens fans, over the last 2 years, the Texans and Bengals both started 0-2 and would go on to make the playoffs. So we're sitting here heading into week 3 asking ourselves this question: why the slow start for the Baltimore Ravens? Well, week 1 they went on the road against the reigning, defending 2-time Super Bowl champions in the Kansas City Chiefs. No matter what team you are, this is a tough task to go into Arrowhead and knock off Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. But I honestly thought Baltimore didn't play the best game and was in it the entire time. In the very last drive of the game, they were a toenail away from potentially tying up the game or going for 2 to try and win the game. So nobody's panicking over this week 1 loss to the reigning defending champs, but week 2 was a lot more concerning. They came in at home as a 9-point favorite against the Las Vegas Raiders. Heading into the 4th quarter, they were up 10 points. They'd go on to choke this game and lose. And maybe a bigger surprise in the entire thing is that 31 other kickers in the NFL are perfect from field goals beyond 50 yards. The only kicker that has missed from beyond 50 this year is Justin Tucker, of all things. So this has been completely unexpected for Baltimore. A winless start through 2 weeks, a team that's Super Bowl contenders, a team that is being quarterbacked by Lamar Jackson, who just came off his MVP season last year. And for them to lay an egg and start 0-2 is super surprising. Now there are a few things that are very concerning to me when I look at this Ravens squad. The defense against the pass has not been good at all. In week 1, the Chiefs were going into an empty formation and just exposing the middle of the field. More specifically, they were targeting Roquan Smith in pass coverage. In week 2, this Ravens defense let Gardner Minshew almost throw for 300 yards against them. And I'll be honest, Roquan Smith has not been great this season. Roquan, who's being paid top dollar, has been bad in pass coverage this season. And then on the offensive side of the ball, I think the offensive line has been concerning. Coming into this year, they have 3 new starters on the O-line. They replaced their right tackle with Patrick Mercari, who's previously made 36 starts throughout the offensive line. And then they're also replacing both of their offensive guards. At right guard, they're adding in Daniel Faele, who has 1 career start in his prior 2 seasons in the NFL. And at left guard, they're adding in Andrew Voorhees, a former 7th round draft pick who's never started a game up until week 1. So there's a lot of youth and inexperience on this offensive line that is responsible for protecting and blocking for 2 very valuable people in the backfield. Coming into this year, PFF ranked this offensive line as the 25th best out of 32 offensive lines in the entire league. So offensively up front, the Ravens have to get a lot better. And this is really unusual for this Baltimore squad. You look at Lamar's tenure as a Raven, they've always had great offensive lines. They've always had a brand of playing smash mouth football. And we really haven't seen that so far from this team. And it's honestly been a shame with who they added in the backfield next to Lambeau Lamar this offseason. We all know the hype and anticipation that came with this Ravens squad when Derrick Henry signed with the Ravens. And we know that he's a running back that doesn't just make immediate cuts or make guys miss right when he gets the ball. He's a guy that needs to get a full head of steam and get downhill to really be his most effective self. Now, I do think that there are a lot of things that the Ravens need to clean up, but personally, through 2 weeks, I'm not panicking on this Baltimore squad at all. A lot of people can overreact at both of these losses, but at the end of the day, they lost to the reigning defending champions by a toenail. And then yes, at home, they dropped the ball against a team they should have beat, but that's going to happen throughout a 17-week season, and the Ravens need to bounce back from it ASAP. But for the Ravens, they really don't have a lot of time to sit here and dwell over this loss. They have a tough 3-week schedule where they'll first go on the road against the Cowboys in Jerry's World, and then they'll bounce back by playing the Bills, and then they'll play the Bengals. So the Ravens have their work cut out for them. Starting 0-2 in this hole, they're going to need to dig themselves out of it, but I still think that they can do it. I expect them to get back on track, beating the the Cowboys this weekend on the road, and then I think they're going to probably split these 2 games against the Bills and Bengals. But the schedule gets a lot easier in the second half of the season, and I expect this Ravens squad to take full advantage of an easier path, and they're going to get back to the playoffs, and they're going to make some noise. It's been getting loud in Baltimore for Lamar, but he's going to shush a lot of critics, and I believe he's going to get this Ravens squad back in the postseason. I'm Caden Kubler, and that's my take.